AITAH for kicking my mom to the curb and sending her back to Japan because she can't mind her own business? I, 24F, recently got married in late September of this year to my husband, 28M. Last year, we moved in together when I got engaged. My husband bought a house in the US, while my parents live in Japan. My mom has been staying with us since the wedding because it's her first time in our home, and she wants all of us to fly back together to Japan for the winter holidays in November. My mom has always been a very controlling person throughout my life. For some background to explain her personality, she's always had high expectations of me, very hypercritical of my looks, academics, talents, and more. She forced me into ballet as a child and then essentially admonished me for not having the idealistic slender body of a ballerina. I have a narrow upper body but a curvier lower body with naturally wide hips, an anatomy that cannot be changed with any diet, but she would still try to starve me because my shape was unbecoming for a ballerina. She would not let me play in the sun or join sports. Additionally, she would not let me cut my hair, I could not hang out with friends after school. It involved extra tutoring, extracurriculars, and strict routines. If I upset her in any way, she would smack me on the palms of my hands until they were raw. Even if I had a fever and was at home from school, she would still come into my room and sit on my bed to make me study. Even when I was delirious, I had to stay conscious, participate, and provide the right answers. I had a rough upbringing, to say the least. Anyway, I've largely addressed most of these things as I've grown up and become independent of her. But a few issues persist. She is incredibly nosy and still tries to critique my life and all of my decisions. My husband is of Japanese/Korean/American descent. When she first saw a photo of him, she was swooning. However, as soon as I told her about his background, she had a problem with his race. She said such horrible things, some of which still echo in my mind today. I have a better relationship with my dad, but he is very submissive when it comes to my mom. My husband is the only person who can assert control over my mom. He is very assertive and blunt, with an intimidating aura. Unfortunately, he is the only person who can put her in her place. To find her way around this, now my mom waits until he is out of the house to confront me. Ever since she's been living here, I feel like prey in my own home. She's been snooping around the house and did a lot of it while we were gone on our honeymoon. We have a detached garage next to the house. My husband uses the main floor garage, and upstairs, he converted it into an art studio for me. My mom has gone through my studio and looked through all my journals and sketchbooks. She has gone through our closet, my clothes, personal items, jewelry, and most recently, my personal toy drawer. I basically have a drawer in our closet in which I keep all that stuff. We put a lock on it for obvious reasons. She started degrading me about it, and I was so upset that I was streaming with tears. It was only when I threatened to tell my husband that she admitted it took her several days, but she eventually found the key. When she invades my privacy, she won't admit to it, but I'll know she has seen something private of mine that she doesn't like because she will not so subtly hint at her disapproval. It shows in her behavior, attitude, and general vibe that she's displeased. Then, she pokes me over and over again to force me to play a twisted guessing game with her. It is nauseating. And painful. I know she's my mom, and I will love and take care of her no matter what. She has her good moments too, but her personality is so exhausting. I'm sure my dad is having a great time in Japan living alone while she's with us here. I feel so guilty about it, but I look forward to having space from her again. I am counting down the days. When I see other people and their closeness to their moms, I can't relate. I feel really sad about that. That's partly why I think I try so hard to bring my mom close, but her behaviors and judgments always hurt me. I wish I were stronger, but I admit lately I don't have the energy to deal with her. Tonight, she was getting physical after having too much wine, while yelling at me about my decision to take a break from work. Luckily, my husband came home early. I ran and got behind him for cover. She kept trying to reach around him to grab me. She was not listening to his calm voice, so he had to raise his voice to her, and that's when she stopped suddenly and just went to her room. When she acts like that, I feel so anxious. I was holding my partner's shirt in my fist so tightly I didn't realize my nails were digging into my skin. I left her water, ibuprofen, and a small meal at her door. I just know for about a day she is going to give me the silent treatment and start refusing to eat. My husband has given her a final warning for her behavior, or else he will send her home. Update 1. I am unfortunately back on this website because I am at a loss for how to wrap my head around a new situation, which honestly feels like retaliation or some kind of attempt at asserting control. Specifically, in this scenario, she has been criticizing our home in the most unnecessary ways. We purchased our home brand new, turnkey, and we have put a lot of work on top of that as well. However, my mom takes great satisfaction in finding faults in minuscule details, which she claims is constructive. She has been obsessed with the guest room closet. It is a large walk-in closet, as this guest room is actually the main floor master. When we put her up in this room, I had explained to my mother the reason there is shelving on only one side of this closet is because we explicitly requested this from the designer during the finishing. We wanted space to neatly store some seasonal items and sports gear. With this simple explanation, I thought the subject had been closed. Yesterday, I came home from a run wearing headphones. I went upstairs to my bathroom, intending to start my shower, But I shut the water off because I kept hearing this strange drilling sound below me. When it wouldn't stop, I wrapped a towel around myself and went downstairs, calling out for my mother. There was no response. I followed the sound and ran into two men standing around in the small foyer that connects to that guest room. They stared back, half smiling, half dumbfounded. I was so shocked, I just froze. My mom appeared behind me, which gave me another scare. I almost screamed. She said something like, "My name, oh my, put some clothes on, stupid girl," in Japanese. I was speechless, crimson, embarrassed, and I got myself out of there. I finished my shower, got dressed, by which time the men had all left. I confronted my mother. Without asking me or my husband, she found these random men online, invited them into our home, and had shelves put in. They are probably not even certified or a real company, and the shelves don't even match. I will now have to remove them and clean up the wall. I feel humiliated and disturbed at what I can only assume is a twisted power move. I have to pay for this service because my mother claims she does not have the money, but also says, "It is your house." She gave access to our home to people from Facebook or something who could have cased the place after she so graciously told them it is just the two of us women currently living here, but more often just me, as in her words, "My awful husband is frequently away." I have been having a hard time falling asleep at night because I'm worrying about getting robbed or worse. I live in a secluded area on an acreage surrounded by woods, absolutely surrounded. I can't even see my neighbors. Since my husband had warned her to keep her behavior in check, I feel like it is absolutely fair to send her back to Japan early. But I am also scared to send her because then I'll be alone. I don't have any siblings, but I have a cousin abroad who thinks I am being harsh if I send my mom packing. She is a frail woman and never travels alone. She is also my mother, no matter how horrid she can be. My husband said he will book her a first-class ticket with someone to collect her from the plane and escort her, that way she will be comfortable. He wants me to stand my ground and assures me that I'll be safe. He can monitor the home from our security system, brief me on some scenarios, things like that. A part of me wants to keep her here so I won't be alone. She and I are currently not speaking to each other, her decision, ironically. Update 2. I am booking her flight right now. She is feigning an aura migraine, asking me to take her to the emergency room, which I am not doing. So now I am being accused of letting her suffer. We have pain meds at home, and there is nothing the ER can do for an aura migraine. I'm going to try to take her phone away because she will 100% call her own ambulance. I regret letting her back into my life so much. This is the first vertebra I'm gaining in hopes of one day growing a spine. I'll probably explore my excessive guilt around this decision in therapy. In the meantime, I'll try to keep reminding myself I've done the right thing. Update 3. My mom's flight was at 2 a.m., direct with no stops. I packed her belongings the night before while she was having her migraine, aka sipping wine and gossiping on the phone, and I placed her suitcases in my vehicle. I informed her of my decision in the morning. Leading up to it, I discussed her behavior since the wedding, listing all the incidents and her lack of remorse or willingness to respect us and our home. I reminded her of the warning my husband had given her only a few days ago. And that as a result of her actions, I will be following through with his warning in his absence. She will be going home. She smiled the whole time while I was talking. I asked her, "Mom, do you understand?" She said she understands that I am basically a coward who is blindly carrying out my husband's bidding. She also made a point to be extra cruel by describing my husband as having dirty blood, and a few other slurs I won't get into due to the second-hand embarrassment I feel about it. My partner is of mixed race and she has a specifically strong anti-Korean sentiment. It's so stupid. I clarified that this decision is mine, my husband was not here. She gave a rude laugh as I explained her flight information. "We'll see," she said. I don't think it hit her that this was really happening until later that evening when I started to pack up the remaining few things, like her essentials and carry-on stuff. She tried to fight with me to undo the packing. She slapped me many times, but I continued, literally while she was slapping me, and dragged the stuff to the vehicle while the verbal and physical barrage went on. I have a few little scratches from the swipes of her nails. One of them is on my face. She then tried to pull my hair as I was going up the stairs. I could have fallen backward, but she didn't get a good grasp. I shouted at her that if she doesn't stop, I will call the police. I don't care anymore. I will embarrass her by slandering her in my personal life any chance I get. I dialed 911 on my phone and showed her. She called me an insufferable daughter and also threw in some derogatory terms, because somehow that's fitting, but she left me alone after that. I had a friend of my husband come and escort us to the airport. He's a mean-looking dude, but a totally nice person at heart, just my mom didn't know that. When he showed up, things calmed down significantly because my mom behaved in a stranger's presence, smiling curtly and everything. He drove me back after we dropped her off, it helped a lot. I tried to give her a hug at the airport, and she walked away, making a vague threat about how her demise will be on my conscience. We never hug unless it's for photos anyway, so maybe it was too much. Anyway, she's gone now, and I have an extremely bad headache today from all the stress and tension that had built up. I am not going to bother my husband because of his temperament and because he has a high-stress job. I have kept him informed, just not in detail. I'm going to try not to feel sick or guilty about what I've done. Thanks everyone from the bottom of my heart.